Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a topic that, let's be honest, hits close to home for a lot of people: how we navigate the really complicated world of caregiving and relationships, and how we can move from feeling judged and scared to a place of real confidence and safety. So let's just start with a feeling I'm sure many of you can relate to: that frustration when you're giving it your all as a caregiver, but you just end up facing judgment anyway. This isn't just a personal thing, it's a dynamic that can put a huge strain on even the strongest families. So, why does this happen? Well, what the sources suggest is really interesting. It's not actually about capability. It's often about a lack of specific training and, frankly, some pretty unfair social pressures that can set caregivers up to fail before they even start. I mean, think about it. Why are so many responsible, loving fathers misunderstood? It's hardly ever about a lack of care. Nope, it usually comes down to social conditioning. Maybe they've had less hands-on practice, or they haven't been trained to think in that constant anticipation mode, you know? And that can lead to some serious misinterpretation. But this brings us to some really good news, a critical realization, actually. Caregiving isn't some innate talent you're born with. It's a skill. And that means anyone, literally anyone, can learn it, practice it, and master it. This is the turning point, right? Where we stop just looking at the problem and start building the solution. Okay, so how do we build this skill? Well, it all starts with a proactive mindset, one that's always looking ahead, preventing problems before they even have a chance to start. We're talking about building habits that just become second nature, giving you a sense of clarity and real confidence. And here is one of the most powerful habits you can adopt. It's a simple mental check, just asking yourself this one question. See, instead of just reacting when a crisis hits, you learn to quietly, constantly anticipate potential risks. This single question can totally change how you approach caregiving. And this mental check can be so simple. Is a kid near water? Is the house suddenly too quiet? The goal here isn't to create anxiety, it's the opposite. These questions build a kind of automatic awareness that makes any environment you're in instantly safer. And these 4 steps build right on top of that mindset. Think about it. Predictable routines, they cut down on mistakes. Learning the early signs of a child's distress, that lets you jump in early. Communicating clearly prevents those awful "I thought you were watching them" moments. And documenting things just creates a shared history. Together, it's a super powerful framework. And let's be really clear about that documentation piece. It's not about building a legal case against someone. Not at all. It's a tool for clear communication, a shared calendar, maybe some notes on appointments. It just creates a record of care that cuts through misunderstandings and builds confidence for everybody involved. Now, let's zoom out a bit. A child's safety is almost always tied to the health of the relationship between their caregivers. And this is where we have to be really aware of dynamics that can become dangerous, often slowly, over a long period of time. When you look at the actual data, the real predictors of violence, they're not what you might think. It's not really about gender. It's about the environment and the relationship. We're talking about things like extreme isolation, untreated mental health issues, and crippling financial stress. Those are the breeding grounds for danger. And, despite what you might see in some media coverage, the global data is crystal clear. Men are still committing the overwhelming majority of homicides. The source material points out that while we might be hearing more about violence from women, the numbers themselves are still statistically very low. This is not some kind of female empowerment issue leading to more aggression. A key pattern to watch for in any potentially dangerous dynamic is something called coercive control. This is when the conflict isn't just about a single issue, like money or who does the dishes. No, it's about power. It's a pattern of behavior designed to dominate a partner and strip away their freedom and their sense of self. And these behaviors are the early warning signs, the red flags. It might start really small, someone monitoring your phone, questioning who you're talking to, making it hard for you to see your friends. These aren't just little signs of jealousy. They can be the very first steps in a dynamic that's shifting from healthy to dangerous. Okay, so what can anyone actually do to reduce the risk when these dynamics start to appear? Well, the sources lay out some very clear, universal rules that apply to anyone in a high conflict or potentially unsafe situation. If you only remember one thing, please let it be this: avoid isolation at all costs. Danger absolutely thrives when a person is cut off from their support system. So actively keeping up your connections with friends, with family, with your community, that isn't just a nice social activity. It is a powerful, powerful act of self-protection. In a really heated moment, your goal is not to win the argument. Let me say that again. Your goal is not to win. It's to de-escalate. The source material is super clear on this. Step away, keep it short, stay calm. Your safety is always, always more important than being right. And this brings us to boundaries. The source material describes them in this beautiful way, not as walls, but as safety rails. Think about that. Setting a boundary isn't an act of aggression. It's a crucial act of self-protection, and it's what keeps situations from spiraling completely out of control. So let's bring this all together. What is the one core idea, the one thing that connects all of these strategies and gives us our most powerful tool for creating safety? The central theme is actually pretty simple. Risk thrives in the dark. It loves silence and isolation. So the most powerful way to prevent harm is to bring connection and visibility into any situation. And that's true whether you're a caregiver trying to avoid being misunderstood or you're someone navigating a dangerous relationship. And that leaves us with one final thought, a call to action, really. Your network is your safety net. It protects you from judgment, from misunderstanding, and even from real danger. So as you go about your day, just think, what is one connection in your life that you can strengthen starting today?